So the AFC North was won by the Pittsburgh Steelers last year. They went 12-4, and we actually had three playoff teams from this division last year who made the playoffs, and two of those teams actually advanced past their first game. The Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens, ironically, were the wildcard teams, and they were able to do that. Pittsburgh wasn't able to make it past the wildcard round, even though they started the season 12-0 or 11-0. So that shows you kind of where that team's at. Big Ben, there's questions about his health. There's questions about how much he has left in the tank. There's questions about how much longevity he can have in a 17-game season. So the questions are just popping out for the Steelers. On the flip side, the Baltimore Ravens, they have a lot of questions at receiver. They have a few receivers starting the season on IL, on the physically unable to perform list. Cleveland Browns, they're trying to get better. Hopefully they'll have Odell back. And the Cincinnati Bengals and Zach Taylor, God bless them. Yeah.
That's a guy. That's a hot seat guy. Right off the bat, I can tell you, Zach Taylor. Forgot about him.
It is by no fault of his own, though. But poor Zach Taylor. Yeah. Anyway, Ben, I want you to do it. We'll take a look at our predictions right here. Why don't you just take us through your predictions right here? Well, why do you explain this? Explain this fuckery you have going on.
So, look, my brain has not yet seen a 17-game season. All right. So what I'm doing is, with your gut what a team's record is going to be when you look at them preseason, right? You can say, that's a 10-6 team, that's a 9-7 team, that team's going nowhere 3-13. What is 3-14? What is 10-7? I don't understand this. I can't comprehend this yet. So just as a little preamble to all of my division rankings, whatever you want to call them, as we go through these tonight, it's all going to be based on 16 games, and I just tacked on a tie at the end because I was not going to worry about figuring out where to put that extra game. I just don't know what to do with it.
Honestly, it's probably better than my system. All I did was I wrote out my predictions as if it was 16 games, and then I looked at the team and I was just like a plus or a minus, and I was like, all right, so if they're good, I'm gonna add one. If I know they're bad, I'm gonna take one away. Like that. So I mean, look, it's. Who knows? Who knows what it's gonna look like? Because you're right. We were talking about that. I was like, what the fuck does a 10-7 team mean? Like, no idea.
Yeah, I was saying, I was like 8-8. I know 7-9. I know 8-9. I have no clue what that looks like. If you I need to see it a couple times. I need a 17-game season a few times before I can get into the hang of all right, that's what an 8-9 team is. That's what a 10-7 team is. I haven't seen it yet. Therefore, I don't know, and I'm probably going to do the same thing next year because I'm only gonna have seen a 17-game schedule once at that point. Anyway, also just a full disclaimer: I did not do math on this. I don't know if this works out. I could have the NFL.
Full disclaimer on these. These are just what we think. These division, these are what we think these teams are. These are just team by team.
I did not look at schedules. This is purely based off feel. And I've got a pretty good feel last year, just purely based off feel, just going records. I think I got 80% of the playoff teams right. So look, take it or leave it. You're getting good picks right here. This is good info.
All right, Ben. Ben, AFC North, go.
All right. So you see my list right there. Unless you're listening, if you want me to explain it to you, I have the Browns at 11-5. The Steelers at 10-6, the Ravens at 9-7, and the Bengals at 6-10. As I said, I don't think the Bengals are going to be going that far this year just because the roster's not good. I'm worried about Jamar Chase. I love LSU. I've been a big Joe Burrow guy. I still believe in Joe Burrow. I think he's going to have a great bounce back year. I'm very worried about Jamar Chase. I don't know if he's got the dropsies right now. I don't know if he's going to figure it out, but I think he had 4 drops in the preseason and only 1 catch, and they were bad drops too. So I hope he figures it out. If not, they've got some pretty good other targets up there, but it's not enough. That team is not deep enough to win enough games this year to be competitive. Maybe in the future. I think this is Zach Taylor's last year in Cincy. Move on to a guy that Joe Burrow can like. Other teams. All right. Baltimore, I had at 9-7. I think it's going to be a little bit of a step back here for Lamar Jackson. Everybody keeps saying that's going to happen. You know what? I'll buy into it. I don't care. I needed a team to take a slide back this year, and I think it's going to be Baltimore. I know that they've always been pretty good and made the playoffs, but they still don't have a true receiver. They lost J.K. Dobbins yesterday. Defense is still very good. They're going to be competitive. They're going to have some tough games, but I don't think that they're a playoff team this year, and it's going to be a strange offseason, and there's going to be a lot of hot takes flying around about whether to pay Lamar or not. But yeah,
okay,
that's my thought on the Ravens.
Okay, get to the one that everyone really wants to know. What is this fuckery of you having the Pittsburgh Steelers at 10-6-1? Like with what is this, Ben? Why?
This is a they're doing it for Ben Year, and he's look. I saw him pump faking. He was on a diet this offseason. He's coming in. We got a new Ben this year, and I think he's going to take them to the playoffs. They've got some, I don't know, maybe Juju won't fall off a milk crate yet, but I don't know. Claypool coming back. They still have a pretty good defense, and Mike Tomlin isn't a loser. Like, that guy just finds a way to win. He has winning teams year over year, and there's a reason that he's been there for like 15 years now. And then I guess first place Cleveland, 11-5. I think a lot of people are expecting them to take that next step this year. I don't know how much talent they have or how much further they can go than where they were last year. But I think 11-5 is a pretty solid spot for them. They're gonna run the ball. They have Odell back. I don't think they should get away from running the ball. They run the ball very well. But their defense is still pretty solid as well. So I still think they're a playoff team this year, and I think with just the way this division is going to shake out, it's going to be competitive. I don't think anybody's going to really separate from any of the other teams, and I think Cleveland's just going to be the one that has the most talent at the end. So that's my take on the AFC North.
So I'm going to explain to you why everything you just said was complete hogwash and wrong. So okay,
you're talking to my gut here. You're talking to my gut here. My gut is pretty good.
You need to feed that thing something, man. It is hungry. It doesn't know what it's saying. It's delusional, because I don't understand. The down year for the Baltimore Ravens was last year. The down year for Lamar Jackson was last year, coming off of that MVP season where he led the league in touchdowns, where he threw for nearly 3,000 yards and ran for 1,200 yards. So I just want to put it out there. I'm a Ravens fan. Of course I'm biased, but I don't care. It's my fucking show. And the Ravens are going to go 13-4 or whatever that means. Like, whatever. Yes, they're going to go 13-4 this year because Lamar Jackson has taken, I think, that step in the offseason in the right direction. He's going to learn from the mistakes he made last year, and he even explained it during the preseason a little bit about why some of the things that went wrong last year happened. He was a little inconsistent throwing down the field because there were a lot of times where he didn't feel like he had the receivers, or he had that chemistry with the receivers, or that had that ability to be in sync with his receivers throwing the ball downfield. And COVID kind of played a part in that, also because they didn't have an offseason training not training camp, but they didn't have off-season practices to begin the training camp season, and then that kind of bled in, and they lost chemistry. That's what it was. And Lamar going into this year, the league still has not figured him out. People can say, oh, Lamar, he's just another running quarterback. It's a matter of time before people figure him out. Well, they were saying that last year after his MVP season, and he still ran for 1,000 yards and threw for 26 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So I don't want to hear it. I'm done hearing this bullshit about, Lamar Jackson can't do it. He can't win the big one. He can't play in this league. He can play, and he's a great quarterback. He's one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL. He's the most efficient quarterback for his age in NFL history. That's just real take truth. So I get, I guess, why there's this bias against Lamar Jackson. I actually did a video about that earlier on this week. Check that out in the archives. But I think the Ravens are going to take that step forward. They have a great defense. They still have Mark Andrews, who's one of the best tight ends in the league. They have a I don't care if J.K. Dobbins is injured. Gus Edwards is a monster. He is a bust. They got Jalen Hill, who was also drafted in the 4th round 2 years ago. He's got some potential, and I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be fine. The Pittsburgh Steelers, though, will take a step back. And you got something to say, bud?
My comment on Lamar Jackson, you mentioned him not having that chemistry with receivers last year being an issue. I mean, their top 2 receivers this year are the guys that they're expecting to be their top 2 receivers this year. Sammy Watkins and Rashad Bateman, neither of them were there last year. I mean, Hollywood Brown's still a target, but at the same time, he's had some drop issues, and you can only really play him close to the line of scrimmage. And I don't know. I think if you're a team that relies heavily on the run, just expecting your number 2 running back to pick up the slack and putting a ton of like strain on your starting quarterback to run, I feel like that's not going to help them this year.
Our number 2 running backs, one of the most efficient running backs in the NFL over the past 3 years. Gus Edwards hasn't had a season where he hasn't had at least 600 yards rushing in the past 3 years he's been in the league. He's not just some scrub they picked off the streets. I just want to make that clear. Gus Edwards he runs through people. They call him. There's a reason they call him the Gus Bus. Well,
I think anybody named Gus gets called the bus. That's just
Well, he also like carries people with him. He's one of those big burly backs, but he's also fast. But again, I get your skepticism. You just don't know. It's okay. It's okay. Eventually, you're gonna watch the games and you're gonna see how wrong you were. But look, Ravens aside, all that bias aside, let's get to the probably the biggest point of disagreement, because I agree with you. I think the Browns are going to be fine. I think they're actually going to take a little bit of a step forward. That's why I got them at 11-6. They're going to be in the hunt for the division.
wait. So is 11-6, 10-6 with an extra win, or is it 11-5?
Yes, it's 10-6 with an extra win.
That's what I'm saying. They went from 10-6 to 11-5.
I should have. You know what I should have done? I should have just done. Like 7-9. Minus or like 13-3 plus, or something. I should have done that. That would have made much more sense. But yeah, no, it's a good thing that they're 11-6. I want to make that clear. The Browns, I think they're going to take a step in the right direction. The only reason I don't have them winning, in reality, is because I think that it's like this. It's this weird thing of knowing the AFC North for as long as I have. The Cleveland Browns always find a way to screw themselves over. And I know that Baker Mayfield has done his darndest to kind of get them away from that trope and that stereotype. But I think he has done a lot to mitigate that. But there's just something about the air in Cleveland that just it won't go exactly how it's supposed to, and that's just it. Also, the AFC North's a tough division. Winning games in this division is very, very difficult. That's why even the Bengals, that's going to be one of the toughest 4-13 teams in the NFL this year. You can take that to the bank. But the Steelers is where you and I probably have one of the biggest disagreement, because you got them at a 10-6 in a gun-ho, all-in for Big Ben year, and I have them in a 7-10 year. Because, quite frankly, one, I believe that either Big Ben is going to get injured at one point in the season.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
It's true. Okay, again, as someone who has very closely watched the AFC North, dude, he's been healthy for 2 straight seasons. It's time. It's about damn time. It's going to happen. And I'm not wishing that. It's a spoiler. It's going to happen. So at some point, if you have Mason Rudolph or God forbid, Dwayne Haskins playing a quarterback in Pittsburgh, what do you think the result of that's going to be? It's not going to be great.
With a helmet bonking him over the head.
Oh, no, that's how the Browns are going to get down to 11-6. Exactly. There you go. But thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.